leadership of the union, ladies and gentlemen, the last few days have seen us expressing divided opinions on the issues at hand. We may not have always agreed on everything, but sometimes that is the nature of democracy. It does not make us any less connected as a community. In fact, it indicates that there is a deep and abiding desire amongst all Bermudians to ensure the best for our people. We may disagree on how to achieve the result, but at the heart of this, I believe that we all have the wider interest of Bermuda at the forefront of our minds. As I indicated after Monday's meeting, the Cabinet has identified a number of additional cost savings, which brings us closer to the target budget figure that the government needs to present a workable budget, a budget that allows us to continue the work of restoring government's finances and to mold a more solid footing. This is important so that we can do the things the people elected us to do. We must deliver services to the taxpayers and run a government that is efficient and cost-conscious. We must continue to build the confidence in Bermuda so we can continue to grow and prosper. And so I'm thus pleased tonight to join colleagues across Bermuda and the leadership of the BTUC here on the steps to announce that the government and the BTUC have come to the agreement. Our disagreements have been centered on the continuation of the furlough day. Now we can move forward. With the savings that have been identified by all parties, it is clear that we continue to work towards the goal of reducing the operating costs of the government in accordance with the strategy outlined by the Minister of Finance in the first budget 2 years ago. With that in mind, the government and the BTUC agreed that continuing the furlough day will only be considered as a last resort. It is important that we now turn our attention to the work at hand, which is demanded us by the people we serve, and to ensure that we continue to function, working together to restore the promise of Bermuda for all of our citizens. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I now turn it over to the President of the BIU. Thank you, Mr. President.
Brothers and sisters, it has been a long day. We started this journey on Monday. It is now Wednesday. As Reverend Tweed said to you a few moments ago, between Mr. Gary Phillips and himself, along with one other person that we had working with Reverend Tweed, going backwards and forwards for the better part of the day on behalf of the leadership of the TUC. And we say on behalf of the leadership of the TUC because we wanted to stay out of the process until the end so we can pull the rest of what needed to be discussed as relates to yesterday and today, because it's important. Recognizing that as I was walking around talking to members, they were concerned about their pay for yesterday. They were concerned about their pay for today. And recognizing that we said to you that sacrifice sometimes is needed, it's necessary. You may have to sacrifice a day's pay. You might have to sacrifice 2 days' pay. Recognizing that there are, and Reverend Tweed read out number 2 and number 3 to you, you recognize that we identified that there's a furlough day that's due to be paid, or you're due to take in February. There's another furlough day that you're due to take in March. So what we're saying in advance of that, those 2 furlough days, if you have them, you can now take those 2 days, yesterday and today, and not lose any pay at all. And that, from our point of view, is a good compromise. In relationship to this issue of the furlough remaining for a consideration, that's all it is, a consideration. So whether it's a part consideration or on the whole consideration, it's a consideration that's still got to come back to us. The bigger picture is that we 100% believe that we can find the cost savings that's needed. So I don't want us to get bogged down on this consideration. Let's understand that we're here on behalf of you to get a result. Because remember, I want to remind you what happened today. We had to support ABELCO workers that came out to support you. We had the support of the dock workers that came out to support this cause. We had the support of telephone workers that came out to support this cause. We had support of hotel workers that came out to support this cause. So even though initially it was your cause, it also became our cause today. So let's not lose sight of where we are. We're almost at the end. We have agreed to go to a meeting 7 o'clock tonight and not leave until we have the cost savings that we need. And I don't see how that in any way takes away from what we've done yesterday, or Monday. Our voices have been heard loud and clear. And if the government hasn't heard them, or maybe they weren't listening, I don't know. And that's not disrespecting the Premier or his cabinet colleagues. I think the mere fact that we was able to sit down and have some resolution today says something. So with that, we will work extremely hard through the course of this evening. And as was said on Monday, we're having one final meeting. So it's not like we're going to meet 7 o'clock tonight. And at 9 o'clock, we're going to decide, even though some of us ain't getting no sleep,
Yes.
we're not leaving at 9 o'clock to say we're going there. We're going to be there till 11, 12, 1, as long as it takes. If we have to do a clock to get this done, then that's our commitment to you as your leadership. And I certainly want to thank the entire membership of the TUC and all those others, because I know there was some others that came in today that are not members of the TUC. They're not even members of our divisions or members of the BPSU or other unions. I spoke to a few people out there that said, I just came for support. And we have to recognize and acknowledge that. And we can't take that for granted. Because I think if we do so, then we're being irresponsible. We have something that now can return our children back to school tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And as I said to the Premier on Tuesday, my main concern is making sure that we get our children back in school. Because every day they lose out of school, remember now, we don't know if all that time can be made up. So the mere fact we got something on the table today that may not, you may not agree with 100%. The mere fact we're 80% or 85% there, we're okay. And tonight we'll get the rest of the way there where furlough day will be going all together. With that, I thank you.
Brothers and sisters, we came here in solidarity.
Let's finish.
We remain here in solidarity. Let there be no doubt in your mind that we will not complete tonight's objective to your desired result. We stayed here all night last night for no furloughs. You don't think we're gonna walk out of the room with furloughs? I'm nobody's fool. We've worked extremely hard together.
Yes, sir.
Allow us, trust us to go back to the table and do what's necessary. We said all week that enough is enough. It was heard. What I want to say is, you see what's around us now? Let's not get this lost. The type of momentum that we've built over the last 3 days is what they consider to be epic. We prove that we're a force to be reckoned with. And when somebody says something out of order to us, I can barely look at them and say, who you talking to? Because I know that we are a strong collective.
Yes, sir.
We will come out, rain, blow, or shine.
Or
brothers and sisters, there's a lot of business to be done. I would like to say, just have faith in us as we go through this process. Some of us didn't get sleep last night and may not get sleep tonight. And that is all because of you. Let's not get that twisted. The meeting tonight is scheduled for 7. It's 10 after 6. We need to get our documents together and get to work.